You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Well, power up, everybody. Your boy Al Mega's back in the business. Hell yeah. It's been over 2 weeks before I've done one of these babies. And today, folks, I got an awesome little lineup of two amazing creators, publishers, writers, editors. I mean, these guys wear more hats than Homie did in that episode of Lucy. All right. So, man, thank God Dillon only put his first name because his last name would have murdered me right now. So let me introduce him first. He's an editor, the one, the only Mr. Dillon. What's poppin', brother? How you doing?
Doing excellent.
how do you pronounce your last name, please?
Mysliwiec.
Mysliwiec. Oh, I was almost there. Ooh, almost there. All right, great. And I'm not even gonna. And with Greg's too, I don't want to talk to him. So let me bring on the one, the only amazing writer, future star over here. Yo, he's about to get everywhere. We're gonna see him on multiple streaming platforms on his stories because this shit right here, what y'all did right here is mad gangster. The one and only Greg M, baby. What's poppin'? How you doing? So, Greg, how do you pronounce your last name, please?
Moquin.
Moquin.
Yeah.
I people add letters.
My high school or whatever used to add letters that weren't even in there, like L's and stuff. I'm like,
I had a social studies teacher. One of my friends was in that class, and his last name is very long, Peruvian last name. And the teacher would always try to say the first and last name. So day one, he is saying everybody's first and last name until he got to my boy, and I knew it was him because he goes, Mr. I'm just gonna call you Mr. Hans. I just looked at my boy. We were in tears. Like, why y'all laughing about? I was like, yo, none of my friends can pronounce this shit, and we know them like 10 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, folks, fellas, thank you. SeerNova is in the building, baby. This hot new independent press about to kick your ass, not just in comic books, but graphic novels, podcasts, films, and more. These guys are ready to take on the geek world. So let's get it going, fellas. I need to know these origin stories. I need to know who you are, where you're from. So let me start with the one and only Mr. Greg right here, writer. Let me know where you from, OG, and give me the origin of fandom. Who got you hooked on this crack that is pop culture?
I'm from upstate New York, so originally from Schenectady.
Okay.
And then moved to Rotterdam when I was like 7 or something. And I still live in Rotterdam, but soon getting a house. So.
They couldn't pull you away. And you're still going to get a house in Rotterdam, aren't you?
No, it's actually to be in Scotia. So.
He's moving away. Finally.
And then I actually have no idea who really I think myself got me into all of this.
Really? What are your most early memories of anything pop culture that kind of got you addicted to it?
Actually, maybe it probably started with video games. So it was like my mom, actually. She played like the old Mario game.
Oh, okay.
And he was a beast at it. So I was like, that's insane.
What 80s, early 90s woman don't you know that is a master at fucking Mario World? I mean, for real. They're masters. I mean, my wife to this day embarrasses me on this game. Like, she began through the boards with no problem. I'm like struggling.
Awesome. That's probably where that all started. Was there?
Okay, started there. All right. So, how about you, Big D, Big Dillon? Where you from, and what got you into this crack right here?
Probably a bunch of different stuff. I know some of my earliest memories definitely involved. So I think one of the biggest things was like Godzilla for like a lot of this pop culture stuff. I remember I had a little Godzilla comic book my dad used to read when we were kids. And then my local barber.
Story. This giant monster terrorizing the city.
Yeah, I loved it. That's why I never had nightmares, because I knew Godzilla would come and kick their ass. Yeah, no, I had a local barber as well, and every time I went to the same guy for years in upstate New York. That's also where I'm from. The name of the place too is Mike's Cut and Shave, I think, and it's in Waterville, New York. And he had a little bookshelf that was just covered with comic books every time I came there, and there were new ones every single time I came. So like I would go there, we'd get there early, we'd be just reading comics, waiting for our cut, and me and my older brother used to go there. So either way, even if we weren't there early, one of us was reading comics while we were waiting for the other one.
Obviously, these are the only kids that actually look forward to a haircut.
I loved it. My barber was excellent. He was a good storyteller as well. I think he actually wrote a couple of books way before I started reading books. But like that was like it was something that always like kept my interest in the fandom. And then obviously, growing up with like the Spider-Man video games and eventually, we're just watching the MCU build out.
Yeah, man. It's obvious you guys are much younger than I. Different generation, if you will. So, Greg, going back to you. So, talk about growing up and just, finding a tribe, if at all. Did you find a tribe where you were growing up that were like-minded in your fandom, or were you a lone wolf, if you will?
I kind of got along with like everybody in school or whatever. I was like the short kid, very short. Like,
the cool short kid. Yeah, we always had one that, even in Brooklyn, we had one of those.
Yeah, people are like, "Oh, like where do you shop? Like Baby Gap?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And that's like high school.
Yeah, don't be jealous because I pay less than you, and I still look fly. That's all.
So, yeah, so I basically got along with everybody for the most part.
They didn't care that you were a geek.
Yes.
Or did you keep it on the cover?
I don't know. I was like video game geek more than comics and stuff.
King of the
I actually
nerds,
didn't.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I didn't really get into comics actually until I started writing my own.
Oh, really? Whoa, wait a minute. So you are a video gamer. You went into comics. Then you started writing some of your own. Or when did that itch come?
I always liked writing since 7th grade English class. I had this project and it was supposed to be like 15-page like narrative, and I wrote 80 pages. So
damn, overdose. I'm like, damn, you really trying to get the brownie points, kiddo? What's going on with you?
Yeah, I got extra credit. So then that story still was sitting in my head like a couple years ago, and I actually redid it. It made it a little more mature. It's probably shorter than what it actually was because I threw it away like years ago because it's like I'm not gonna ever need this because I stopped like writing for a while after high school or whatever, and I'm like I'm not gonna write or anything. And I got bored one day, and I just started writing when I was like very, very, very bored, and I was watching like Everybody Loves Raymond like reruns, and I didn't have a job at the time, so I'm just sitting here in a chair. And then I opened my laptop that I had at the time, and I just started writing, and that's what became the Seer Chronicles, which was a massive story and stuff. But
so are you telling me Raymond inspired the Seer Chronicles?
I guess.
You said that must have been some crazy ass episode. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I love it. What about you, Dillon, man? Talk to me about you finding a tribe and then taking, finally a creative step.
I guess my big thing was I was always interested in a lot of stuff like the comic books, but I actually never became like a collector or anything like that. It mostly actually stuck with the barber. My dad had a couple of cool comics, but coincidentally, I think my big intro was video games as well. That's where I found a bunch of, the friends that I, ended up growing up with. And I think from that, like I still very much liked a lot of the superhero style video games as well, such as like Spider-Man or like the Arkham series that came out. Yeah, I guess that's kind of like my small little tribe. I wasn't like a lone wolf, but like I definitely was kind of friends with everyone. So because of that, I didn't have like a tight niche. I kind of just bounced around from group to group.
Yeah, you were the friend of the friendless.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
The episode.
Yeah,
I'm with everybody. Don't you worry. I'm into whatever you like. Movies, games, comics. I got you, kiddo.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the big thing too. Is I was like into a lot of stuff. So because of that, I didn't really have like a niche group. I kind of like just bounced around. And then ultimately I ended up basically entering this indie comic space because I'm a marketer. That's actually my primary source of income.
Oh, really?
And
there we are. Oh,
yeah.
man. Are you the one spamming me on my phone?
No, that's this guy. But no, basically, I ended up. I was actually working, so even more of a tangent. I went to school for engineering. I worked as an engineer for a few years.
Oh, damn.
And while I was there, I started teaching myself marketing. I had already kind of learned like web development and graphic design over the years. And one day, while I'm trying to like build out my little marketing company, I'm looking on Craigslist for a graphic or for like work. And so I'm looking up like web designer, graphic designer. And I found a Craigslist post going, "Hey, I'm in search of a graphic designer." And then I read the post and I'm like, I think you meant comic book illustrator. And it was Greg over here who basically typed that in. And I was just like,
wait a minute. Y'all met on Craigslist?
100%. And so what happened was he was local at the time. He was in Schenectady. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, we should meet up. Months went by. We didn't get a chance to meet up. Eventually, he actually moved to Florida for a little while. And that's when we started discussing that's when we started discussing a lot of the possibility of building a comic book company. I started doing some research into it because I basically reached out and was like, I can make a logo or something for you. I can't draw comics. And that's just how the first connection was made. And then basically a year later, after we had started chatting, he moved to Florida. He's now moved back to Schenectady. We finally meet up and we end up creating what is now SeerNova Comics. Ooh. And that was kind of like the how I found this new tribe of people that are in the comic space.
Talk about that conversation, Greg, when you are leaving hot ass Florida with the one season, going back home, and then building this wonderful independent press. So what was going through your head at the time? Did you think it was even real? Like, I'm gonna go back home and I'm gonna be an independent comic book publisher, but not just that, but a creative powerhouse.
So I was like, I hated life when I was in Florida for like the 3 months I was there. I was living, so I moved there with my friend Brett, his now wife, and his 2 kids.
Okay.
Yep. And then we were in a house of, in total, it was like 8 people.
Oh, so damn, bro.
Eight, maybe 10.
So just to clarify, you are not Mexican. I could say that. I'm not the. No. Okay.
And I had to share, I think it was 10 people. No, maybe it was 8. But I had to share a bathroom with like his wife, his 2 kids, his
damn.
2 sister-in-laws. Yeah, it was like crazy. And
God forbid there was ever an emergency.
Yeah, and I slept in a dining room like that. That there was no wall
on the table. Poor guys. Like, yo, excuse me, we're at dinner now. Wake up.
It was their kitchen is like open, and then like you could see right over the counter. So like my bed was just here, and then people going to get a drink from the fridge, and they're like, "Oh, what's up?" And I'm like,
"Yeah, get your shit and get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, so I left there in July. I moved there April of.
Before you left, don't forget the best thing was we started having meetings to start discussing the idea of the comic book company. And every time we would have a meeting, someone was using a table saw cutting tiles or a tile cutter. Yeah, so like I'm sitting there in a meeting, and then he would like unmute himself to talk, and I just hear in the background the whole time. Like there wasn't a single day that wasn't happening.
Poor Greg was like customer service. Excuse me? What? What? I'm sorry. What?
Press shit. 1 for no table saw. So, so I was in my room, and next to me is this sliding glass door, which goes out to this sunroom thing, and that's where my friend Brett's stepfather-in-law was cutting tile for his bathroom that he was like remodeling, but he only was doing that when he knew I was having a meeting. I was like,
hey guys, when is Greg on? All right, wait. I'm gonna make sure. Get my table ready for 5.
So then we had a third guy. There was a third guy to SeerNova in the beginning, and we weren't doing much of anything in the beginning. So like we didn't know what to do with him. and then he kind of like he left because he wanted to do his own thing. Just because there was nothing for him to do at the time. Now, like, it would have been awesome if he stayed.
Well, people need to have patience, folks. Be patient. You know, especially when you're learning and navigating this like new game, right? I mean, you guys here. I want to open up a comic book company. How the hell do I do that? So talk about you guys in that learning curve in doing this. Like, what was the easiest? What was the hardest?
Oh, I definitely say that. So I guess before I get into the easiest and hardest, the thing that made us build what we did was originally it was just about creating comics. It wasn't necessarily a comic book company. It was going to be more like we would create our own comics and eventually maybe open a comic book store and sell them in it and sell other people's. Okay. And then essentially what happened was we did a ton of research into the indie comic book world of all the creators. And I distinctly remember coming across the creator of the #1 horror comic in the UK. And he was 40 plus years old, living in his mom's basement in debt. And it was from the comic books, right? Yeah. And so it turned out that if you are an independent creator, unless you strike gold, 99% of independent comic creators never make their money back, even the top rated ones.
They stay in debt.
Yeah, and the biggest reason for that is unless you're an all-in-one, a one-stop shop where you can write, pencil, ink, color, letter, and edit your own comics, which unless you've been doing it for 40 years, the odds of that happening is astronomically low. And so the biggest thing we discovered was, okay, well, what causes that? And then we found out that if you create the comics, you're paying X amount of dollars, but then you actually have to pay to print each one. So you're constantly increasing your debt as you're trying to pay off your debt. And so instead of doing that, we decided, what if we go the digital route? What if we create a digital platform? So after all of our costs are done, we can have a platform where people can pay to read our comics. That was how it all originally started. And I would say that was probably one of the hardest things, was building out that platform and trying to get it so that it was user friendly, things like that. Like, we're still working on it to this date, trying to optimize it. And I think from that, I'm trying to think of what the easiest thing. I don't know if there's been like a single like really easy thing.
Entrepreneur shit ain't easy at all. I hear you, man. Because being an entrepreneur is a struggle, and it's college every single day.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a high school, it's college, because you gotta learn some crazy shit out of nowhere. Oh my God, wait a minute, this just happened. Let me figure this out right now. Let me tell you, I've been in y'all shoes, just as a website owner. So it's like, oh my God, I don't have a webmaster. I am the webmaster. I'm that guy in Lucy with the multiple hats. So I was like, holy shit, if something happens, I have to figure it out. So, that shit must be crazy. I salute you guys on that journey, because you guys are on a whole different platform and journey. And let me also begin to share, because you have, this wonderful Kickstarter that I read. So I need you guys to explain to me, not just to me, but rather to the fans, what is the Seer Chronicles? Because I got to read that issue too. Let me tell you guys, fucking salute. That was so gangster. I felt like I was reading some old school upstate New York gangster movie, something in Long Island somewhere.
Some Babyface Nelson.
Yeah, like some gangster shit goes down in this issue too. Like, this is deep. It's gangster. It's different. It's not superhero. I loved it. I was like, I dug it. I could not stop reading it. I read all 36 pages like straight through, kiddos. So thank you. Even those news articles, I'm like, damn, this is a fucked up city.
I still remember creating those news articles. We were like, damn, like what happened last time until this time. So anyone who hasn't checked it out yet, the first 2 pages of our comic, and we plan to do this specifically for the Seer Chronicles and everyone every issue after the first one, is we have our newspaper company in there, the Daily Journal, and the whole idea is we want to basically let you know what happened between the comics. So some of the articles will reference what happened at like the end of maybe the last comic, but this is an ongoing story, and there's going to be other stuff happening in the background. So there's going to be other articles in there. Sometimes they might be like an Easter egg or something like that. Like, actually, one of the things we did in the second issue was we put a coupon code, and this will be something I don't think we've mentioned this on any podcast. I'll just mention it on this one.
Please.
But there's a coupon code in there that actually works on our website in our merch store.
Yeah.
So
I saw the coupons. And I was like, oh shit, so 80s.
Yeah, and so we made it look like it's in the newspaper, but because in our world that we created, we actually made up brands of like Burger King. Like we have our own. We call it was it Ground Zero Burger Joint?
Yeah,
right?
the Ground Zero. Yeah, I saw that, and that put a smile in it. I'm like, first of all, that is so fucked up. Ground Zero burgers, but I'm like, I wonder how they taste.
Right. Well, something that I would love to do in the future is to be able to go to say like a convention and have like some of these like branded companies, right, to be there, like to have like just somebody cooking burgers, make up like a whole sign selling.
If you could do an outside stand with just that, like rent the food truck for a day, rebrand the truck for a day. I think that's that easy, and you could call it those type of burgers, and like for every burger you could get a free comic or something, or even like an ash can. Think about that, sticker, something to go along with it. Or even the packaging should be relative to the comic with the barcode, like yo, boom, then you can read the comic. Oh my god, bro! And I would love to taste one. Like, okay, I like. For me, it gave me the feeling that these would be like well done. So I was like, okay, this is right up my alley. I'm sorry, I'm fucked up.
That's funny. But yeah, Greg was the one that basically initiated this whole story. So that's his story to tell. But I just wanted to tell that little thing about
Greg, tell me, bro, where did you build this gangster? I mean, were you growing up in a mafia neighborhood? What's popping? I mean, you even got slots on this bad boy. What's going on? That's some mafia shit right there, son.
So the Seer Chronicles actually starts for issue 1. It starts with this John Benson character, and he's like one of our main characters because he's not just one main character. It focuses on multiple people, and he's a firefighter, and he's going into this research lab that's kind of sketchy.
Oh, and I read about John.
Yeah, and he doesn't come out alive, so spoiler. And then he he's rebirthed as like a superhero, and we don't actually show how he gets powers and stuff because it's a sketchy lab, so you make something up. And so in the second issue, we focus a little on Tyler Silva. He's a sketchy police detective.
Sketchy. I mean, he's grimy, so not even sketchy. That's like grimy ass dude, man. I'm like, yo, talk about dirty, son.
I'm gonna update his wiki to say that grimy.
He's got gambling debt with the mafia. One of the mobs that are part of the
and folks, I want you to know he's also 5'0", so that's what I'm trying to say. He a grimy mother effer, son.
Yeah.
He sounds like a New York cop already on the game.
So we focus on Tyler, but also John has like some of a story in the second one. He's not focused that much on him, where you don't focus that much on him yet, just because we're trying to flesh out the world.
And I like that. Yeah, because there's something funny there. I didn't realize that this was even superhero, because I'm telling you, pregame in the green room, like, yo, I loved it. It's like it was a superhero. Okay, but now you're telling me I'm gonna get some superhero shit, but we is being introduced to the greater world. And in issue 2, at least in my interpretation of it, it's a focus on the villains of that world.
Yep. Yeah. So if you've seen Gotham, it's like Gotham.
I was gonna say it's like Gotham meets Game of Thrones. Like we're trying to really follow a bunch of different people at the same time.
Oh, well, you guys did a great job, because just introducing the world to me, Silva. Because at first I felt sorry for him, then I'm like, but bro, you got yourself into trouble. You're an asshole.
that's perfect, because that's like exactly like the route we were trying to go with it. Like originally, the person that Greg had created. He actually in the original story just killed him off too soon, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't feel bad or anything. In fact, that this guy's dead. Like, we gotta change that. Like, what can we do? And so we started like developing his backstory, and eventually, even Greg was like, I think I really like this character now.
But again, I think I also said this in the green room. This character is very like Adam Sandler's character in Uncut Gems. It's like this guy. He puts himself out there. He's such a dick, but you almost want him to win. It's like, damn it, what the hell's going on? Like, Silva, you asked. I don't hate you entirely, but I also don't like you, so I don't know. You got me so perplexed, guys. Job well done, Greg.
Thanks.
Holy shit, bro. Job well done.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of characters in Seer Chronicles and other stories that are actually based off people in my life that are real.
Oh my God! You hang out with these? I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So the Silva character is actually, that's his name in real life. I can tell you where he lives, but he's not like that in real life.
Thank God, bro, because I would have cut him off.
He's grimy, but he's not. So I don't think he has gambling debt.
You know what, though? Sometimes you need a grimy friend. You know, you need that friend that knows someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the vibe I'm getting there. Dylan, do you have a friend like that?
Everybody needs a friend like that.
Let me just say something too, because with this issue too, I can't see what you guys originally went for, but apparently it's coming to life with $3,265 with 156 backers on the last one. Yeah. So congrats. So is this your what? Are you having nothing but successful campaigns? Like what's your crowdfunding journey like, guys?
I'll start it and then Greg can continue. But basically, when we first started back in 2017.
Oh wow, you're OG. That's going right now.
So essentially, well, I guess technically we started working on it in 2016, but 2017 is when we got our LLC together and made it official.
Beautiful entrepreneurs, baby. Show them some love, baby. Love it.
Yeah, and we ended up basically I'm trying to think. I think it was 2017. Essentially, Greg had already taken his book that he had written and turned it into a couple of what are they called? Storyboards. There you go. Basically, a bunch of storyboards, and then we submitted them to an artist. Tried to get them all created, and he wanted to run a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. And the reason why was because he didn't know if it would succeed. And Indiegogo, it doesn't matter if you hit your goal, you still get the money. And essentially, I told him, like, that's a bad idea. Like, we don't have any followers. We're brand new. Like, maybe like 50 followers, 150 followers, something like that. We
better hope those 50 followers pay. Shit.
Yeah.
You get 1% of that.
Exactly. So I'm like, yeah, there's no, like, we shouldn't be doing that yet. But if you want to, like, you're going to have to basically post every day for the next 30 days, 5 times a day. And, like, you're not going to do that. So it's not going to happen.
But again, I could show you guys how to do that. With automatic systems, you do it once and you schedule it. You don't have to sit in front of a computer stressing it.
Like with Creator Studio, things like that to pump that stuff out.
Hootsuite, Hero Post.
Hootsuite, Buffalo, a bunch of those.
Not Hootsuite though, too expensive. Hero Post, you pay one price, you have it for life. All right.
What's it called?
Hero Post. They do everything Hootsuite does, but you pay one price for lifetime access, my brother.
I'm gonna have to save that one for later.
Yes, you do. And I want to say they're not sponsoring me or anything. I'm saying I use them, and is that I just show you some love. You better sponsor my ass because these guys are about to get hooked up anyway.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check them out. But yeah, essentially, I was like, you're gonna have to be direct messaging, calling people. Like with 50 followers, nobody knows we exist. Like you're gonna have to call friends and family, ask them for their friends and
you're
family
gonna have to beg for podcasts and
exactly.
Please post my shit. And I've heard horror stories where independent creators go to a comic book website and they're like, well, if you're not listed in Diamond or you're not big enough for me, your social following. And I'm like, fuck you guys. You send me whatever you got, any independent creator, and I'll post that. I mean, because again, it's you guys are the future. So any website that says no to you, just give them the middle finger salute and say goodbye.
Yeah, thank you. Goodbye. But yeah, so we ended up. I think we raised like $100 or something like that, maybe $150.
$292.
He remembers.
Yeah,
that was
I'm
a
sure he
point
does.
for Greg. He's like, I remember.
He's like $292.76. But yeah, basically, it failed. I kind of figured it would, and I was like, we got to work on getting followers. I think we might have done that 2 or 3 times, each of them failing, and eventually. I was like, listen, we need to put all our focus in gaining a following. Like, no one's going to give us money if no one knows who we are. And essentially, I started showing Greg, like, this is how you post on social media. This is how you start gaining followers. This is how you find networks to, like, join and, actually get people from those groups to follow us. And so we started doing that. And then when we were finally ready to launch, I was like, okay, right, I'm going to show you all this stuff. And then there was a book I had just finished reading at the time called The $100 Startup. And it has a series of like resources in there. And there's a website which you can go to 100startup.com. And it's probably my most referenced resource when suggesting resources to other people. And there's like 6 resources on the website. And one of them, number 6, is the 39-step product launch checklist. So I went through that with Greg, and I went through every single point in there, and I go, I want you to read through this with me, ask me any questions, but this is if you follow this, I promise you we'll have a successful Kickstarter campaign. And now I'll let Greg take over from there.
Yeah, so we funded.
So you funded. You followed 39 steps, and you guys got funded.
Yeah. I took the 39 steps, but I made like a blog article out of that, and I didn't like copy the exact same stuff. I took like what steps I used, because some of those steps
as a comic book creator,
set up an online store. Like,
also it's different than like because what is it? That was a product launch, and this was a crowdfunding campaign, so it's different.
So I turned the 39 steps into 21 steps, and yeah, so you just have to play blackjack, and if you hit big,
against the house.
So I turned that into a blog, and that's on our website. It's also on another website that was going to be a thing, and it's not a thing anymore, or it is. I don't know.
Well, if you anyone wants to host anything for you, shit, we're open for you too, kiddos. Let's go.
Nice. We're actually still working on building that one out in particular, because that really was probably the most helpful blog article that we've written, and now Greg and I are kind of going through it, like beefing it up to give more details on each of the points.
I have 2 sets of columns like that from 2 different independent creators that are teaching people, steps, to creative, resources or creation, and they wonderful job. Check them out. It's on the website too. And if you guys ever want to contribute to ours too, man, shit, I'm open for that. You guys are murdering it. I mean, look at this. I guess so. You follow your steps, your 21 steps now.
Yeah.
That Greg toned it down to. Then you have this successful as Kickstarter, the first, and then you got the second one successful. So talk about it. I mean, look at 2 crime families, alcoholic and a monkey walk into a bar or restaurant. What did they walk into? What are you confusing me for? I love this. I mean, look at this. You guys definitely, even the counting cards. Oh shit! You're trying to get me murdered, man. Come on, you gotta stop it. So, please tell me you guys did a retailer level.
No,
if not, that has to be next. You guys need retailers to chip in, man.
Yeah, that's one thing that I would like to do. I'm not even doing it on the. I could always add one, but the Kickstarter that's going to be coming up in like July at some point.
In July? Oh, folks. Oh, shit. They're dropping another one. Let me get the broom. They're dropping another one on us.
It's not Seer Chronicles.
What are we getting in July?
It's a sci-fi comic. It's actually all ages comics. It's the first one first comic I wrote that has no swearing in it. And
oh my God, we a family Disney book, folks. There you go. Family friendly.
It's called Mittens Space Pilot, and it's literally my girlfriend told me a story, like her childhood cat Mittens actually like hung around. It's really funny. It has to do with mafia.
It was a mafia cat.
Yeah. So she's like, yeah,
Kitty, should I kill this motherfucker? And that cat blinked. That meant yes.
So her cat died like, I don't know, a long time ago, and when the cat died, a bunch of cats showed up at her dad's house, like a lot of cats, like every neighborhood cat that you could think of, like showed up. Like Garfield was there.
That was the god cat, son. Yeah. The god kitty.
So I took that idea and I made it like, oh, it's going to be in space. He's going to be a space pilot. He's also going to be a cat burglar. And
right. I need you to do the god kitty.
so
I'm gonna give you some catnip you can't refuse.
Hey.
So Mittens, the first issue starts out with he's going to Planet Yarn.
Shit. They're gonna tear it up.
he makes a deal with this cat mob boss. That's his name is Oscar Pawton, and he owns this restaurant or whatever. I don't know why every mafia that I have.
Hey, why not? I hope they make good lasagna. That's all I care about.
Yeah, Garfield's there. He's frequent. And yeah, so he makes a deal with him. Then he has to go find this one item that's actually more important than he thinks it is, and it gets crazy because I wrote it's gonna at least have 6 issues. It's gonna have probably more than that, but there's 3 that isn't the first plot arc, and I already wrote them. So
nice. I really want to see the God Kitty now, though. I'm thinking about this more. Like, holy shit, yo, you have cats show up to the death of a cat. Like, yo, that's gangster, son.
Yeah. So it's
that
like,
cat, they have a certain language, man. Because I know my kitty over here, she's awesome, and you make me depressed. I don't want to lose her.
Yeah. Also,
animals immortal.
Greg, didn't you say too? It was like more than like a dozen cats. Like it was like a lot of cats.
Yeah. I'm like,
you know what those were? Those were the wise cats, the wise kitties, and and the other dons from the other hoods. You know what I mean? The enforcers.
Yeah, the lieutenants. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, yo, the kitty tenants, the God Kitty. You gotta go like that. You gotta keep it on a kitty theme, man.
Yeah, it's like a Tony Soprano cat. So,
holy shit, bro! Tony Caprano. There you go.
Caprano.
And look at this beautiful art, yo. I mean, homie looking like the homie from Back to the Future with them socks.
That's exactly.
This is why I'm wearing a hat, because if I open my hat right now, take it off, my shit is gonna go just like that. I'm like, yo, that makes me look so old, bro. I mean, but I have more hair than that on the top, thank God.
Yeah, that's funny. That's exactly what we went for. Was like the Doc Brown kind of look.
Good job. And look at it in full color, beautiful, man. Wow, great. And then the lettering, and again, like Janice Chang told me, make sure the lettering doesn't disturb the art, and well done placement as well. Love it. I love.
Shout out to Jerome.
The panel, shout out, kiddo, great job. Love the panel usage too. Feels very old school, and again, very verbose, if you will. Like this page is not going to take you a minute to read; it's going to take you a little bit more, so you can really take it in, which is what's wonderful about books like this. Then look, folks, you see this sample. Look at it. This madness that turns into this beauty. Oh, my God. From madness to beauty. Look at this. Wow. I mean, guys, how proud are you of this product?
It was way better than the original first one that we did.
I just see from this to that. I'm like, okay, somebody say, hold up. Somebody say, wait a minute.
And if you see that panel that's in the middle right there on that page,
this is gorgeous.
Yeah, that skyline, that's actually a 3D rendered version that we got from our video game that we're creating.
Oh shit! Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Let me get that goddamn broom again. I gotta sweep things up here. Now you dropping some video game news. What's popping? What is it called? When is it coming out? What systems? What? And how much? Let me take my wallet out of my goddamn pocket. I gotta be throwing my wallet at the screen over here. What's going on?
Well, so before we even decided to make a game, essentially Greg and I were talking about the comic and how, and when I mentioned like the Game of Thrones reference earlier. Our objective is to not multiverse this in the sense that Spider-Man's dead. Just kidding. Here's another universe, right? Like we want it to be, we want it so like maybe a main character dies, and if they're dead, they're dead. Like that's it. They don't get to just come back. And the objective is to really if anyone's ever seen Cowboy Bebop, there's great endings to shows where the main characters dead, and that's it. That's all that happens.
It happens. They had a wonderful life, and they ended it in a warrior's battle, if you will, if they were lucky. They didn't die in bed.
I was going to say, in Game of Thrones, sometimes you get the unfortunate ones, and that's why I say that's closer to what we're working on. But basically, what we wanted to do is make sure that not only were our characters' arc and lifespan, precise. If somebody, loses an arm, they're not going to just have it at the next issue, right? That's we're going to keep that plot point along. But we also wanted to make sure that the consistency of the universe we're in. So, for example, if the bad guy's running down, Elm Street and takes a left down 15th, right? What building is on that corner? I want it to be the same anytime that happens.
Yeah.
And so we decided to take Greg's hometown, Schenectady, get a Google Map rendition of it. And then I'm like, we should just draw out little blocks and go this is a skyscraper, right? And then we'll have a reference point. And then Greg happens to mention, he goes, oh, I got a friend who can do like 3D modeling. Like we could talk with him, see if he can help us. And so he started rendering this city for us.
And when he started, New York, guys? Don't you love New York? I got a friend. Hold on.
Oh, everybody's got a friend. Yeah. And so that's kind of what happened was we built it out to this point where, we could see part of the city. And then eventually I asked him, like, what's he building this in? Like, and he goes, oh, I'm building it in Unity. And I'm like, the game development platform? And so Greg's like, yeah. And he basically, I think it was Greg that came up with the idea. It's like, this would be awesome as a video game. And I think that's when we slowly decided to not just use the 3D rendering for our comics, but to eventually start working on producing a video game. Nice. So basically with every one of our comics now, especially the new ones that'll be coming out in the next year or two, anytime there's like we have the city map, so we can lay out the blocks. So if someone's running down a street, we'll go into the the currently in development game, grab a screenshot, and we'll send it to the artist to draw that exactly how it is. Right. So we still want to draw, and we don't want just a 3D picture, but we take that 3D picture and have it sketched by an artist so that it looks like it's the real thing. And so that's the first thing we do. And now anytime we do internal buildings, like if we're inside of a restaurant, Greg and I found this platform called floorplancreator.net. It's a web-based 3D modeling program, $5 a year, so extremely expensive.
$5 a year?
Yeah. And this thing's phenomenal. So Greg and I have been building out restaurants, warehouses, apartment buildings, so that we know exactly how it's shaped. So, and because of that, we've been using that to actually shape how the comic story is told. So, for example,
they already built the real ground zero, folks. Oh
yeah, God. Well, actually, we have not built the inside of it yet, but we know where it's physically located, and we know what the outside looks like. But the insides, like one of the comics that'll be coming out, I think either the end of this year or next year, is Ink 2. Yeah, so that's the follow-up to one of our fan favorites, Ink, obviously, Ink 1. And in this one, actually, I believe that was one of the reward tiers, I think, was like to get Ink 1 along with it.
Yeah. It was
and
like
you met Big Tom too, man.
Oh, we what?
You met Big Tom. I went to the Tom Bilyeu party when I was at San Diego Comic-Con in 2019.
Oh, that's awesome. I met him in 2018 at their launch of IT Comics. I got to meet Steve Aoki.
Me too. Wait, where were you? We were in the same effing room.
Oh, for real? I hung out with Tom, the team, his wife, like that entire day. I was like, I'm meeting this dude.
We ran into each other because I took wifey there, and that's where I met Steve too. There, my wife was like, her first question to Steve was, "What products do you use on your hair?"
Dude, it's awesome. I hung around the table so much. I befriended one of the people that worked at IT Comics. And at one point, there was too many people around the table when Steve Aoki came over. And I ended up actually it was basically a bunch of IT comic peoples, the bodyguards, and me standing in a semicircle to keep everybody out. Like, that's it. For no other reason than I was hanging around the table so long that I got friendly with them. Nice. And eventually, I even helped when Steve Aoki was trying to leave. The bodyguards were trying to get people to back off. So I actually was helping them block off the area so that they could get him out of there.
Dillon's not just an editor, folks, but he's also a security bodyguard. So if you ever need help at a convention,
dude, it was definitely one of the coolest experiences too, because basically I found Tom online, on Instagram. I think when he had 50,000 or less followers, and so I had a bunch of back and forth conversations with him, and because of that. When I found out he was announcing he had a comic book company, I was like, no way! I'm like, I have to go to this. And so, luckily, the year before, I had submitted my information for the New York Comic-Con because I just wanted to go in general. And now I'm like, thank God I did, because you need to get cleared by a bunch of stuff. And so, yeah, it was super awesome. I got to see. I went to the panel where it was Musicians Make Comics. And I got to see Run DMC, Steve Aoki, and two I think EDM artists talk about how they're making comic books. And it's funny because Tom and Lisa came in late with Steve Aoki because apparently they got stuck on an elevator while they were there. It was an elevator. Yeah,
that's New York, baby. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was such a cool event. But yeah, that was it was the year after we started. I think I had my shirt on, the SeerNova Comics shirt, so I got to meet him. That's how I got the picture with him. But yeah, it was definitely one of the coolest experiences.
So let me ask you guys, before we come to a close, because you got dope books out, you got projects coming out. What convention can we see you at next, if at all?
I would say that we're currently trying to figure out which ones are still running, and then we have to plan ahead because we actually both planned on going in 2020. Okay. And then obviously that didn't happen at all.
Yeah, the big C word happened.
Yeah, and so because of that, we haven't really planned to go out yet, but we did end up hosting our own virtual Comic-Con.
Hey, the Nova Virtual Con. Wepa, what's popping there? Are you going to do that again or what?
Oh, yeah. So the first year we did it was 2020. We did a follow-up in 2021. And yeah, we plan to do another one this year as well. So, and that's all Greg, too. Like, he's the one that, like I helped him organize a little bit, but Greg did, probably 75% of the work for that, if not more.
Greg is a beast, man. Are you just an event planner type of man, bro? What's going on there? No.
No. I was like,
I just want to show off my shit. That's it.
I was just playing director while I was doing it.
Point the fingers. You go there.
Yeah. Last year was easier than the first year.
By a lot.
Yeah. Because we already had some stuff already made. Like Dylan only had to like Photoshop the year and the logo to like 21 instead of 20.
Gotcha.
And then we had to like schedule people, but like people knew like kind of what it was. So like, oh, I want to be on. I'm like, okay, I don't want the same people from last year on. Like, if we can try to make that a thing.
Yeah.
There was this lady that's an editor more for like books than comics, and she was on like more than a normal guest would be on, just because she had nothing else to do. Because it happens during Thanksgiving weekend. Because yeah, we schedule it then just because we're kind of celebrating. Yeah, we're celebrating like a little vacation, and like we feel like not that many people are doing much of anything else. So
yeah, it's kind of like everyone's just kind of home Black Friday weekend, and like no one does anything. Like I don't know of any big events. Like nobody plans anything.
People are either smoking weed, drinking beer, or eating leftover turkey. That's all.
Yeah, turkey comas.
And the last day of the Comic-Con, usually the last thing that we do, we like drink and we just like relax. And
man, you don't want to do that with us. That'll be wild.
The first year, like I didn't really get drunk that much. I like ran into a wall or something at my apartment.
He's like, I didn't get that drunk. I just ran into a wall.
I couldn't find my bedroom.
Yeah, but like last year, I did get drunk to a point. Like our friend Hector, that was on because we were like celebrating the end of this one podcast that we did, Breakfast Talk, and we were just playing video games like on Streamyard while drinking.
Breakfast time.
Yes. So we did that. We're probably going to do that again, just not the podcast or whatever. And you
got to do it. What's better than watching two older gentlemen play video games, fucked up, and struggle? I play with my nephew, a young guy, and he looks at me like, "Damn, bro, can you fucking like get this shit right?" I feel like he's older because I know he will insult me that way, but he just looks at me now. He's like, "Come on, Theo." I know in his brain he's saying, "You motherfucker, can you like keep up?" I can't wait till he's older and insults me like that. I'm just gonna smile and laugh. I'm like, "Yeah, now you're grown up. Thank you."
And each year of that Comic-Con that we do, we try to make it like a little better each year if we can. This year we're gonna actually separate it into like rooms if we can. And
kind of like out at a real convention, like there's like different panel rooms.
Yeah. Nice. So our Twitch will only be like video games. So like people, if they want to watch us play that or somebody else on our platform, we're gonna be able to set that up.
That's wonderful. I've done the same with Comic Crusaders Podcast. We did it for charity a couple years ago, and we raised a couple of money for the Leukemia Society.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we want to do things for charity. So we had a whole bunch of guests show up. We had international guests, domestic guests. We had a DJ. We had a film screening. It was awesome. With the film screening, I had to post edit what was live and take it out. He's like, "Oh, okay, just make sure you take it out." That's the shit. Okay, so after a 12-hour podcast, let me find this one section, take out the film, and repost.
Nice. That's
but I
funny.
did it, man, because that was nice. People got exclusives. We made money for a good cause, and we celebrated. And I want to do the same thing, and I would actually love to invite you guys as independent creators, because I'm thinking of an indie panel, and what you guys have done is impressive. You guys took your lessons. You didn't let it bog you down. You learned something new. You created 21 steps and found success after the fact. And so, that's again, flowers and kudos to both of you for, not giving up and just finding a way, and having the will to find that way. So, God bless you both. And I wish you nothing but success on this, because again, look at this lineup, folks. Look at this beautiful website with a whole bunch of books and stuff going on, and not just books, but podcasts too, of course. And news, merch, and all. Get the swag, folks. Get that swag. You want it.
Yeah, that was a big part of our platform too. Like once we realized like that whole like going the digital route was the better way for indie creators, we then realized like, oh yeah, like other people could probably use this too. So that's why like you can see like there's more comics than just ours up there. And our goal now is we actually have all these comics on our platform. They're free to read. So our goal is to get in front of people first. Now you do have to sign up with an email so that we can, bother you. But basically the whole idea is, we want to get them exposure first. And then we've actually built out this membership platform called Nova Nation. And it's basically like Patreon built into our own platform. It's using plugins that, we set up to basically go, hey, if you want to have some behind the scenes, like unreleased podcast episodes. Sometimes Greg and I will have a guest. We'll talk for 2 hours. We'll take the first hour, publish that live. And then the second hour, maybe we'll talk about some spicier stuff or stuff that we want to, save for creators. And we'll put it on the Nova Nation side.
Nice.
We've got like unreleased artwork, maybe comic books before they get released onto our platform. So for example, right now, like even on the screen, you can see it lurking, which is one of the stories in the, on the top row, the second one from the left. So what that is the one of the stories from our the horror anthology, Chronicles of Horror, right? So we're slowly dripping out one story at a time until we release the whole anthology, right? And so they're just kind of a way to get people to stay involved. But if they want to read the whole anthology now after reading that, they can sign up for Nova Nation, and it's available on the back end for them to read. We even have a premium membership. So we have our regular one, which is, I think it's like $4.99 a month. So like the price of one comic per month. And our goal is to help grow the platform. So we take a portion of our income, and it's just meant to like get nicer plugins, to get better hosting, and then a part of that goes towards advertising. And then the rest of it, we split up amongst the contributors on our platform, and we set up like a whole point system with them. Like as long as they contribute to the platform and they promote the platform, then they basically will get a cut of the profits. And so that's kind of the objective, is to, broadcast the indie community in general. If they just want to put a free comic up, they don't need to be a contributor. They can just put their stuff out there. Every person, like if you want to click on one of those comics, every creator on there has their own author page as well. So we put their website on there, their social media. Like we're not trying to like keep people on the platform necessarily. We're trying to get them to find the best indie comics out there. And that's kind of our objective.
Go indie, that's right, baby. Because indie comics is where it's at, yo. Because Big Two, while they're fine and dandy, man, this is where it's at. It's indie. Indie gives you what you want, folks. Everybody be begging the Big Two for shit when indie folks like yourselves already giving us what we want. I mean, even this totally gangster story that you're telling me is actually a superhero story. Like, oh my god, they're fucking me up over here. I can't wait. I gotta reissue one now, and I gotta see where this leads to, because I'm super interested. Because you definitely did build a very interesting world to me in issue 2. I'm digging it. Like I said, Silva is like, yeah, do I really want to feel sorry for this prick? I don't know, but it was a great story. A lot of shit goes down. Beautiful artwork, great storytelling, Greg. I think you did a wonderful job. Absolutely. Doing a great job on the editing too, man, because I tend to find mistakes in indie comic books, and this is one of those exceptions where I'm like, okay, I don't see any spelling errors, I don't see anything wrong. Like, oh shit, kudos, baby. It happens, you know what I mean? It happens. It just happens. It's not just an indie. It does happen even with the big two sometimes, where they fuck up and do recalls, and then those books are worth $100. You know what I mean?
Was it the Bobby Banner or whatever it was, or Bruce Banner that changed his name?
Yeah, Bobby Banner, holy shit, yo. What happened? But this is Junior. That's what it is. His name is Bobby. Junior Hulk. He's a very small size Hulk, If you don't give him his bio, he gets very angry.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
You know what I mean? So, guys, thank you again for hanging out with me today, talking about the greatness of all the chronicles you do, the books, the brand, your skills, your journey. It's inspiring, it's motivational. We definitely gotta check out the 21 steps, Greg, because that shit it sounds like some serious business right there. You need to make that into a book too, with pretty pictures and all. And
yeah, we gotta make an ebook of it. That's what we gotta do.
Yeah. Do it under the brand, get it done. Because if it's something that services the people, let's get it done, man. Because I'm very happy to see that you guys have found success, and are on the way. I can't wait to have you in another podcast where we're gonna talk about really. So the movie starring who? Oh my God. The video game dropped by who? On Xbox? Holy shit. So, let's get it done, man. Hey, listen, we got to speak it onto the world to make things happen, right? We got to
absolutely.
Again, the manifestation is us just twisting the illusion that is life, right? We're putting our magic into it. So throw that song into it, kiddos. You guys got this. Thank you again, folks. Please, I'm going to show this one last time. Go to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and it's SeerNova. SeerNova Comics, all right? And of course, it's the same thing for the website. So go visit SeerNovaComics.com. Check out everything they got. Subscribe, sign up, follow them on their Twitch, their LinkedIn, their Pinterest, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. My God, they're everywhere. They're pimping it, son. This is what indie does. They're pulling out wonderful product, and there's the stuff you got to check out. They have the true spirit of indie within them, and wonderful stuff on their website. They have a great podcast, great energy. Thank you for what you guys do, Kudos. Woo! All right? So with that, folks, you know what to do, all right? Make sure to also follow comiccrusaders.com, undercovercapes.com. Follow the family. Follow me, gente. We dropping shows daily. We crazy like that, We keep you entertained. And with that, thank you again, mi gente. Hasta la próxima. Woo! Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.